The S&P 500, it was down 1.3% for the week. You had the Nasdaq 100 down 2%, the Nasdaq Composite down 2.6%, and the big loser of the week was the Russell 2000. It was down 3.7% on the week. It was a big week in the stock market, a lot of volatility. We're going to dissect all of that. We're going to talk about the prospects for a bounce next week, or is this the start to a much bigger stock market correction, or even worse, a stock market crash? First, make sure you've liked this video, subscribe to this channel so you can be notified of all future videos, and make sure to check out my YouTube membership down below by clicking join. You're going to get all my market research each and every day posted right here for those who join. So check that out down below, and you're also supporting this channel in the process. The S&P 500, when we really look at it, are we all that surprised considering how much it has run over the past year, almost nonstop, that we're actually getting some selling here? We shouldn't be. Valuations are at unbelievable record highs. Margin, that being the amount of borrowed money that traders are playing with right now, is at record highs. It's over 900 billion. That should be cause for alarm, because when those margin calls start getting hit on any future sell-off, it's going to create additional selling that sends the market even lower. So let's go ahead and get into the charts and see what we're looking at here. You have the S&P 500 on the weekly chart. The rising channel going back to October of 2020. So far it has held. I don't know how much strength there is in it, considering that it's only been tested twice and retested once. Nonetheless, one of the things that I would say that's worth watching in the days to follow, and particularly with next week, is this 50-day moving average. This 50-day moving average was tested on Wednesday. We closed and broke below, but I also told you too, be careful with these 50-day moving averages, because there is a track record of the S&P 500 consistently bouncing off of the moving average. I've highlighted it many times in previous videos, but you can see here, it's been constantly tested numerous times. The only time it didn't was when it broke through September, stayed down below it for a little bit of a while, and created this nice inverse head and shoulders pattern, and then went on that epic rally that we saw in mid-October into November. Now we've pulled back again to this 50-day moving average. And when you zoom in on it, you'll see, yes, we did break below it on Wednesday, but then on Thursday, we recaptured it, only to see us on Friday break back below it again intraday, but see a last minute rally in the last 5 minutes of trading that saw price get right back above the 50-day moving average here. So big day going into Monday. We saw a lot of volatility over the weekend in the crypto market, with Bitcoin crashing and pretty much all the other cryptos out there as well. So that's probably going to be factored into it. So that could be a sign pointing into next week being continued volatility for this market going into year end. And there's this belief out there too that because it's December, we have to get the Santa rally, that we have to continue to see stocks rally into the year end. And while most years that's true, that's not always the case. Go back to December 2018, when Jerome Powell was then talking about tapering and was then talking about raising interest rates and even raising the interest rates. What did the market do? It puked all over itself. The market took a huge dive, and I'll take you right to it for you guys to be able to see for yourself. It started back in October of 2018. And then we got a little bit of a consolidation, a bounce in November. And then we had a huge plummet, and it didn't bottom until the very, very end of December. I think it was the day after Christmas here, where it actually finally managed to rally. And it rallied in a big way, and it offered an incredible opportunity to get into new long positions, as you can see. Since then, it has basically done nothing but rally outside of the 3-week sell-off from COVID. So there is precedent for us to see a sell-off in 2018, especially under these particular circumstances. And yes, there's Omicron out there that's got a lot of people scared, but ultimately it's probably not going to be because of Omicron. If that was the case, we would have probably seen a major sell-off with the Delta variant. But it's really going to come down to Jerome Powell and what the actions of the Federal Reserve are going to be going forward. Does he really stick to this aggressive tapering schedule and aggressive interest rate hikes in the beginning of the new year? Or is he going to bail out like he did after he saw the stock market crash back in 2018, only to actually start cutting rates again? Let's not stop at the S&P 500. Let's go ahead and look at IWM and the QQQ, starting with the latter first. Inverse head and shoulders pattern. This actually confirmed this past week. Looking much weaker than the S&P 500 so far. Left shoulder, you have the head, and then you have the right shoulder. Confirmed it, broke down, finding some support at the 50-day moving average, but the difference between the Qs and the S&P 500 or SPY is that there's not a lot of precedent for it to actually pay attention to the 50-day moving average. And I don't really care about a moving average unless there's a precedent for caring about it. And in the SPY, you have that. In the Qs, you don't. So going forward, I really want to see, does the weakness that we saw this past week in tech carry over into this week? And we actually get a test of this rising trend line that goes all the way back to September of last year. And if that's the case, it could be a good bounce opportunity for the Qs, even if it's just a temporary bounce, to make anywhere between 4 to 7% to the upside. But if that doesn't hold, our line in the sand then becomes this massive support level going all the way back to July of this past year. If this level breaks, that becomes a huge problem for the market to overcome, because in doing so, it also break the 200-day moving average. Now, how about IWM? Because this is also at a major do or die moment for the index. Tested this major support level all week long. Did it hold it? Yes, it did. It started to break below it a little bit, but the following day, it had a huge bounce, only to see all of those gains be given up by Friday, but it didn't break support. So that is huge. Going into next week, is it going to continue to hold? If we break it on Monday and we start seeing selling into Tuesday, that is a reason to get very nervous about small caps. Even though we're oversold, and we've been oversold for a while in small caps, stocks can stay oversold way longer than you can stay solvent. So just let the sell-off end and then get long. Let it base, let it bounce. You don't have to get in at the very bottom or even try to time the very bottom, because if you do that, you're going to be wrong multiple times before you're right. And by the time you're right, you're going to be only using a little bit of the capital that you would have had if you would have just waited for that bounce to happen, because you've given it all back to the market as the market continued to drop. So be patient. And while we're looking at the daily charts of these indices, it's also helpful to kind of take a little bit of the noise out of the equation and pull up some monthly charts here. So let's start with IWM and take a look at its monthly chart and see what we're dealing with there. Incredible consolidation. It actually looks like a bull flag. It could easily break to the upside. Now, we know this range on a daily chart is much bigger than what we're seeing on the monthly chart, and it has a lot of work to do before it could actually ever break out above this consolidation. But there's so much talk about a stock market crash. Oh, we're pulling back and it's miserable and horrible and people are losing all sorts of money. We've barely moved, guys. We've barely moved. If you look at the IWM, does this look like a stock market crash to you? No, it doesn't. If you go back to the sell-off of 2020, that's more of a stock market crash. And even then, it only lasted for a few months before it finally bottomed at the 2016 lows and then bounced right back up. If you look at the Qs, does the monthly chart of the Qs look anything like a market crash underway right now? No, there's no technical damage. And so if there's no technical damage, how can you even say it's a market crash? If we break below this rising channel that I've been talking about, maybe there's some potential for a much greater pullback. But right now, monthly charts are still bullish. If it breaks below this price level support that I outlined on the daily, yes, then maybe you can start saying we have a bigger market correction underway. But right now, when you're looking at these monthly charts, it's a big to-do about nothing. Again, look at the SPY. SPY look like a correction to you right now. It could turn into one. But at this moment, what we are looking at right now, has the SPY correct? No. On the monthly chart, maybe if you break below the September lows, you can start talking about, okay, the market's correcting. But right now we're in a rising uptrend. Nothing has changed. And so that's why it's important to look at not just the daily chart, which yes, it can look much worse on a daily chart, just like it can look really bad on a 1-minute chart. But you got to kind of zoom out. You got to take a step back and look at the overall picture and see, okay, are we really in this major correction right now? No, we're not. Yes, we've had a couple of bad weeks in the stock market, but what has it done to the long-term picture of the market? Absolutely nothing. IWM is the closest one to breaking down. It's testing a major support level that it's been testing pretty much all year long and yet to really break. That's the first one that could fall. The next one would be the Nasdaq, and then followed by the S&P 500 on the monthly charts. And you're not going to really see a real correction in the market until you start seeing those monthly charts and weekly charts start to crater. And it's also worth pointing out too that when you pull up these charts, most of your FANG stocks, your really big tech heavy companies, have not really broken down yet. You're seeing a little bit of it there in Facebook, but you're not seeing it in Apple yet. You're not seeing it in Amazon. These stocks Amazon has basically just traded sideways for about a year and a half. You could almost say that you're seeing a little bit of a start to a breakdown in Microsoft, but even then it's not broken any previous lows. Netflix is starting to break down some. You have a double top there. Apple closed higher on the week. This is the biggest company in America. If this one doesn't break down, the market's not going to break down. It's just not going to happen. On the VIX, we're seeing some short-term volatility spikes here, but we don't even know if it's going to sustain itself. Yes, it's above this major resistance level that had held it down before. But when we're looking at periods of great volatility, like what we saw back in March and February of 2020, this pales in comparison. I think we're seeing some warning signs right now for sure. And there's reason to be very nervous about the market, reason to probably start booking some gains or partial profits or raising those stop losses. But we're not seeing a full-on major sell-off yet. And while I think it's probably going to happen at some point in the very near future, especially if Jerome Powell continues to taper and eventually raise interest rates, yes, I do think we'll correct quite a bit. And it's long overdue for this market. It's needed to freshen trade setups and to create more opportunities going forward. But again, the takeaway here is when you're getting caught up in the day-to-day volatility in the market and the swings, take a step back just to look at what the bigger picture is showing you. What is the weekly chart showing you? What is the monthly chart showing you? Is there a real breakdown yet, or are we just seeing the start to one? And if that's the case, based off of what we're seeing on the monthly charts and what we're seeing on the weekly charts, there's a lot of room for this market to fall if we actually are at the start of a correction. So you want to protect yourselves. You want to make sure you're raising your stop losses. You want to make sure that you're looking for opportunities to take profits along the way where you can see clearly on the charts we're breaking down or the trend is reversing. Start looking for those opportunities to where you can secure profits and not give them all back to the market. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to subscribe. Make sure to like it as well. It helps me out tremendously and able to get this out to a much wider audience. If you have any questions, put them down in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you guys. Tell me, what is your thoughts for the market going forward? Do you think we're going to go right back up to all-time highs, or is this a part of a bigger market correction? I want to hear all about that and more. Thank you guys, and God bless.